don't go anywhere. Because right now, as we thank Richard for his time and let him get back to his, his nice life in England, we bring in our wonderful, exquisite, superlative League of Legends analysts, Stephen Broken Watcher Main and Keith the Unknown Mitchell. How are you?
I was waiting for it. Terrible.
Really?
Yep.
Stephen, I don't know why that would be, but Keith, how are you?
I'm doing fine, because I have no particular investment in the reason why Stephen is feeling terrible.
So, Stephen, we'll get to your upset feelings in a bit, but the first thing we have to talk about is not long after the two of you departed the studio last on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
We had some significant news. I'm not sure if you heard.
Yes, I did.
Meteos is not playing for Cloud9 anymore.
Wow.
Yes, I know, Stephen, that you predicted High would come back to the team this season. I
was
don't
so
think
close.
But yet you were
In weeks, I even got the week right.
two lanes away from being correct.
So close and yet so very far, honestly.
And honestly, it's a joke that Elimination is still on Cloud9 and Meteos is not.
It's funny. It is a joke. It's funny. It's
Anyone else
funny.
not agree with me?
I think that I've always said that Elimination still has some place on the team because his analytical skills are decent in-game, but I would agree with you that I think that High would be better served playing. I don't think it's a joke. I think it's like poor management.
I think it's a joke.
Apparently you do.
How, in what world is Elimination a more important part to C9 than Meteos?
In this
Ever.
world, Stephen.
Apparently.
Welcome to that reality. Just today, we have that for you here.
CLG better be putting together, Hotshot GG better be breaking all of his piggy banks in the house, and they better be mustering up a good buyout clause for Meteos' contract because CLG better buy his ass out.
Maybe Dignitas will like add him to their jungler collection.
There's an air of desperation in your voice when you talk about that, Stephen.
Yeah.
There's certain.
Well, because, I think we all know that there's no way in hell Meteos goes very long without being on some team. I mean, someone's going to put the money down, or he's going to be back on Cloud9.
Well, he said in a public way, as nice a way as he could, while still being very public about it, that he was going to be in the league as long as someone would have him. That's, again, a very nice, non-poaching interference sort of way of saying, hey, someone pay me to play because I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I'm here to play.
Meteos is going to be on a team soon. Undoubtedly.
All that poaching stuff doesn't matter because, like, High, like, the organizers of Cloud9, especially, like, High and Charlie and all those people, are not the kind of people who are going to be like, all right, well, no one can have Meteos. We're going to keep him hostage here until, like, his contract runs out,
I hope
even
not.
though he won't play. Well, like, their whole thing is that they're, like, they're bros, and, like, bro doesn't let a bro sit unused while Worlds passes him by.
If they were bros, Keith, then why did we get here to begin with?
We got here to begin with because Incarnation did some bad things to the team's morale.
Apparently, yeah.
And I think I predicted this-ish. Even before predicting that High will step back in, I said, and you guys, we all kind of came to this consensus that if C9 as a team didn't put it together in the first few weeks,
they would fall.
That we might see this sort of thing happen. Not only would they be bad as a team, but that their dynamic might blow up.
Because this was an organization that didn't really know how to lose. Like,
yeah, and Incarnation in particular is someone who doesn't have any experience on this level, and also has sort of been known for being not the best teammate, even if that is just in solo queue. So, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I called this one a little bit.
I have faith. Maybe I shouldn't have. Incarnation.
I mean, I thought that they had a chance, but I definitely.
Well, all this time I've been saying they could improve, but they don't look like they're making steps anymore. There was an increase. I saw them getting better, and now it just seems like they're leveling off, and they're kind of going to like this almost robotic play style where like you can tell what's going to happen 30 seconds before it does. All right, they're going to try and go to get Baron, and then someone's going to walk up and they're going to like run away because they're too scared.
They didn't improve this week. They lost a teammate.
Yeah, it's not that they're playing worse. It's that they're not getting better. And when you put
play
High back in, when you put the main shot caller, everyone's like, oh, he's the reason why the team fell apart. It was because High is the core. And now you have the core back, but it's too late. I feel like
they can't play much worse than they have, Keith. I don't think.
That's true.
You can't fall much further than Cloud9 currently is, which is a crazy thing to say, that Cloud9 is like kind of the epitome of the worst. But I mean, who else, now that we have Emperor and Ninja, I believe, back with TDK, who is playing worse than Cloud9?
Well,
really?
I'm talking about results, not playing. And TDK still has a chance to place worse than Cloud9 because they are still dropping games.
They are. They lost both times this weekend.
They lost their teammate as
they're
well,
playing
right?
great, and everyone's like, "Wow, that's amazing," but it's not getting them results. And
well, they beat Dignitas.
the real question
so it gave
is,
them some result.
if Cloud9 goes,
give them one result.
A result.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. I think the only thing that would get Cloud9 out of the league is if they got 10th place. If they got 9th place or 8th place and had to play against relegation teams, I don't think there's one that isn't named Renegades that could take them out.
And Renegades will likely place first in the LCS.
Well, yeah, like the chances of Renegades not getting into the auto relegation spot.
Could we see Cloud9 versus Cloud9 Tempest?
That was my thought. Talking to Richard, I actually
thought
about that.
I thought they can't do that. If Cloud9 gets 8th, gets 8th, and then
yeah, that's probably true. Actually,
like your organization's teams aren't allowed to play against each other, so they'll swap it so that Vortex or whoever plays against Cloud9, even if they're not supposed to be that way. Yeah,
because I think Cloud9 Tempest is probably the best challenger team outside of Renegades right now.
But they're not allowed, by the rules of the championship series. So Cloud9 will not unless they get 10th place, they won't be relegated. The question is, can they stay alive long enough to get into
Actually, right now it would be Team Coast.
Oh, Coast.
Oh, boy.
What a matchup. Cloud9, this version of Cloud9 versus Team Coast in a best of 3.
You know what? I was going to make a joke about Coast. That's a name that inspires confidence. But in a world where Cloud9 is going to get relegated,
we have
can't really say anything.
We have Renegades
anymore.
and Coast, who are both unbeaten, and then we have Imagine and Tempest at 2-2. That's the standings.
Sort of crossing over games here. The alleged price for Skadoodle's contract.
20K.
20. I thought it was 27. I thought it was 27.
I think it was 20K buyout, and then he had more money on top of that for salary. It was 20 plus for the buyout.
Okay. So let's just say 25K.
Sure.
To add Skadoodle to your team, not including his salary, right? That's just the upfront cost.
It's working out.
What's the price for Meteos?
I mean, C9 brought Skadoodle in for that amount, so is that the same price for them to put someone out? I don't know. It's also a different situation. I guess it's hard to say because you have to. Skadoodle was brought in as a free agent. That was his price to come in.
Well, I mean, they had to buy his contract from someone, right?
I don't think they did because his team was just gone. They were
he was
obliterated.
IBP.
Yeah, they were just gone.
So then, okay.
They paid him upfront salary to get him to join
because that was
because Skadoodle had his deal with Hika where they were going to go to a team together. Cloud9 convinced him to just come by himself to Cloud9. To do that, they paid him $20,000+ signing bonus on top of his salary, which again has worked out pretty well for Cloud9 apparently.
Yeah, definitely.
He looked like he was peerless. I mean, perhaps not peerless, but he had no one above him in terms of sniping at the ESL Pro League Finals. So it's working out for them. I think the price would likely be even higher for Meteos because you have to pay him and pay the organization. You have to pay both. So who has that pocketbooks that go that deep? TSM. That's how we get into the discussion now. We have TSM and we have CLG. That pretty much is the list, I think.
I think Liquid maybe.
I don't think Liquid would shell out like that.
I'm not saying I think they would, but I think that they're the only other team who could even put the money down in terms of being a big enough organization.
I mean, Dignitas is theoretically, but they wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Do you think Dignitas has 30K to shell out for Meteos?
I mean,
I think the only teams.
I think they have enough money because they're a big enough organization. I don't think they would.
I'm not sure Dignitas has that kind of change rolling around.
Perhaps they could buy Meteos and mouse pads.
That's true.
I don't know what the exchange rate is these days between mouse pads and dollars, but it's probably up there pretty high. So Team 8 now beating Cloud9, giving us the appropriate Team 8 and 8th and Cloud9 and 9th positions. The team looks like shit. They have High as their jungler. I mean, High's jungling ability, I don't know how to rate that exactly. He looked like he knew how to play League, but that's about.
He's obviously not a jungler.
No, he understands how to play. I think if you're a shot caller, jungling is perhaps an okay role to go into because you're roaming and you're already thinking about the game.
And
that
that was
anyway.
his previous experience.
Yeah.
So before mid lane, he was a jungler.
It's not like going into an ADC role against Piglet or Doublelift and expecting him to perform okay then. He can kind of roam and just do his thing and be a part of other lanes and take part in team fights. So it's probably the easiest role to plug him into other than mid lane. I think the best place to plug them into would be mid lane. You replace a player who's had a terrible time fitting in with the team, but they seem very committed to Incarnation, obviously.
I put them in support. Like, I don't necessarily agree with the whole, bench elimination thing, but we're
that.
talking about we're talking about a player that can't sustain high levels of mechanical ability because of his wrist injury, but still wants to play, wants to help his team, and like support would be for me the ideal position because there isn't a whole lot of like active mechanics while still having the ability to like make like grand scale plays.
I will say that like support is in itself one of the most unique roles, though.
That's true. He would have a hard time.
Laning with another person is something that takes a lot of work.
I mean, whenever he streams, though, like he's
yeah, no, I agree. But I'm just saying in terms of like going into a competitive environment, like there's very few instances of people going from solo lanes to a duo lane. Most of the time that we see someone like drop into a support in a role swap scenario has been they've gone from AD carry to support. And usually it's not like a mid lane playing support or a top lane because that dynamic that, playing with another person in your lane is very, it's unique and you can't get it in any other situation. But I definitely think that would have been the best scenario for Cloud9, but I don't know that there's any coming back from what they've done.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it sounded to me like Meteos just kind of pieced out on the team.
He was not.
I didn't get the feeling from how the whole thing went down that it was a team decision and everyone sat down and Meteos said, you know what, I think I've been underperforming.
That announcement he made was not a matter of I feel like I don't play well enough and I want to, set it. That was a matter of like, I'm done.
So
this needs to not happen
anymore. The
anymore.
grapevine word is that there was already a very tense environment on the team. As you might imagine, a very tense environment with Cloud9 having previously been the class of North America for, 3-4
their entire
existence. For their existence, and now being like a relegation team potentially. There was a bad mood in the team, and there was, after a few particularly heated scrims, there was some very heated discussion, and that discussion led to Meteos declaring that he was done with the team, and that was that.
Yep.
Moving on. That seems to be the way it played out. So
all signs point to Meteos being done with C9, which is a crazy thing to think about, because just 5 days ago, Meteos is like the face of Cloud9, and now he's done. I don't know. It's exciting. It's exciting. I'm hope that something turns out of Meteos leaving C9, or I don't know. I just, like you said, I hate to see Meteos miss out on a Worlds.
I mean, I can picture like 3 or 4 teams that he'd fit really well into too. So
I mean, Meteos can pretty much fit into any team in North America he wants to go to because he's the premier jungler from the region and really potentially like in the whole of the West from the past year or 2 years. So he could pretty much go where he wants to go. I mean, which team would say no if they had a chance to swap him out? I guess some teams might for chemistry reasons, but like on just on the face of it, it seems like a pretty obvious move for everyone to make.
I think even like, and I'm not saying that this would ever happen, but I'm sure there's teams like in China that would pick up Meteos as well.
I was actually thinking before, I don't want to know if Meteos is open to going abroad. I don't think he has reason to because he obviously has tremendous fan support in North America.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a great financial base here in North America. He makes the most sense. He can make the most money, I think, playing for a North American team, and he's obviously most comfortable here. But if he was open to going abroad, I think there's a number of teams in Europe and in China who'd look at him. He could even make a run at playing for a lower-tier Korean team who wanted to give a different look to things. Not that he would, because the communication issues there, and also in China.
I think Korea is probably like the least likely, just because Korea has such a big talent pool.
To be clear, there's no way he's going to China or Korea or Taiwan because the language barrier there is tremendous.
Well,
and
I mean,
he can just skip out on that entirely.
There's a lot of Chinese teams now that like don't speak Chinese. I mean, it's like it's like 2 Koreans, 3 Chinese people, and they mostly communicate in pings and broken English and broken Chinese and broken Korean. I mean,
that is true.
So it's not unreasonable to think that Meteos could show up in China. I think it's
less than optimal.
Yeah, I thought for a long time Doublelift might end up in a Chinese team. Like this was like maybe in season 2 or something when CLG was pooping the bed and Doublelift was.
He plays kind of like a Chinese, like an LPL player.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
and also it would be a more natural language transition for him because he has some, his Chinese is like all right, but he claimed to speak Shanghainese to some extent. So I think if you put him in that situation, he could learn the language. But I don't know. It's an interesting scenario to think
If anyone
of.
belongs in an LPL team, I think it's Wild Turtle if he gets cut from TSM eventually. Because his style, just like the flash forward style, by all means, play for like a mid-tier Chinese team and just like go nuts, go ham. Just do your thing, Wild Turtle.
Speaking of Wild Turtle.
Be free, Wild Turtle.
We saw Keith and Wild Turtle split this week.
We did.
I was not impressed by Keith's play.
No.
Well, yeah.
It did not look good.
And Wild Turtle has looked better since coming in, since Keith came in.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think it's definitely looking to have improved his game, and Keith has not quite imposed himself on the lineup.
Although, I mean, TSM did get like stomped by Gravity, so
yeah.
Turtle didn't really look good in that
But
performance
he looked good
either.
last week. He did.
Yeah.
Wild Turtle did.
TSM in general just didn't look very good this week.
But kind of zoom back here again. Meteos is not going to China or Korea or Taiwan or Brazil or Turkey or Russia.
Japan.
Or Japan. Have we covered? He's not going to Oceania. He's not going to Australia or New Zealand.
For detonation, fine. Needs a jungler.
What else do we have to cover now? What regions have we not covered yet?
Renegades.
Meteos is not going. Yeah, but he's not going to Australia. I said.
He's
not going to Challenger. He's not going to Challenger.
You don't think he's going to sign on with
And
a
actually,
Challenger
he
team?
could go to Challenger if they're coming to the LCS for sure. He could go to a Challenger team. But
picked up by the new
Worlds.
incarnation of Dark Passage.
He would miss Worlds though.
Yeah.
I said Turkey already.
Well, Crumbs is like the face boy. Crumbs and Alex Fisher are like the face of Renegades. So
the face boy? Is that an official term?
Face boy.
Official face
boy
boy
face.
for Renegades?
Yeah.
Very excellent. Well done. So let's talk about where Meteos might actually go. Let's assume, again, North America, because it's his home. It's where he's based in. He has the most fans here. It makes the most financial sense for him to stay here. I do think Europe's a possibility. He could do that, but let's assume North America is where he's going to stay and not going to Taiwan. So who is the best fit for him here? I think CLG sticks out for obvious reasons. They have the money, and they have a need for an impactful jungler, and they're struggling right now. So it would make sense for them to make a change. TSM can afford him. Santorin is not a standout player, but when TSM went to their players and said, hey, these are the guys who are in danger, they went to Dyrus and Wild Turtle. They didn't go to Santorin. So I'd be shocked if they went to Santorin now and said, by the way, goodbye, you're fucked.
Yep.
Gravity actually is, to me, an interesting idea.
See, but I heard you when you were talking with Richard, and I feel like Gravity, they feel really comfortable with their jungler.
I think they do too. I just wonder if they would make a desperation play because they feel like, okay, we're tied for first in the split. We have a chance to go to Worlds. Maybe we need
I don't
missing.
like that.
I feel like it's
missing
the
piece.
opposite. Like you're doing your first place right now. You're feeling decent about yourself. Like why would you go out and let's recruit like a jungler who's currently at low morale, who's having problems, who like hasn't looked so good in recent weeks, and who was once known for being very good. Like these.
Well, you say who was once known. We're not talking about like ancient
Wait,
times.
wait. He's still.
Are you talking about St. Vicious? Oh no, Meteos.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Well, maybe St. Vicious will have compassion for
I
a
rate
fellow
that
jungler
great,
in need.
mate. What a great rate I gave that.
Nice meme.
Very nice, excellent meme. So yeah, I didn't say it would be a good idea. I think I could see it happening though, just because of the idea of hey, we need a player who's been there. If we go to Worlds, we need a Worlds player.
I don't feel like Gravity would be willing to make that play.
No,
Like,
seriously,
that would be-
they just got rid of St. Vicious though. Like as much as Meteos is not St. Vicious and St. Vicious is not Meteos, like if they were looking for someone who is experienced and has been at the big stage, I mean, then why get rid of St. Vicious to begin with, right? That
He's bad.
I mean, yeah, but
If we're willing
I'm
to bring
just saying.
Details.
if we're willing to bring in Europe to the equation, though, then we have giants who like Frederick's been like.
no, Meteos is not going to go play.
No,
for
I'm
Giants.
just saying
Please
if
don't
EU
go to Giants,
is,
Meteos. Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
saying that's a good idea. I'm saying it's a possibility that they'll try to like.
Meteos
You're only saying that because you picked Giants to go to Worlds.
That is absolutely false.
The only team I could ever see Meteos going to in Europe is like H2K. That's it. Because he's not going to go to Fnatic.
But I don't see
because-
H2K wanting him.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's the only
Yeah.
team I think makes any sense.
See,
at
I'm
all.
not talking about like what teams will Meteos agree to play on. I'm talking about what teams will be like thirsty for Meteos.
Aren't we all thirsty for Meteos in some way? My big question here actually is, are either Meteos or Sneaky going to like cut the hair now? Because we're kind of the twins thing going on.
That's
now they're
true.
on different teams potentially. So
I know.
I hope he stays in NA so that they can have like rival matches and Meteos can just camp Sneaky's lane.
I'm,
Or like
I'm
a-
sad about that.
loser loses his hair match. Where like one of them has to cut the emo style down like a buzz or
What
some
if-
shit.
Loser gets like really creepy copy pasta written about him.
I imagine Sneaky with a buzz cut. Like what would he look like?
What if at the end of this season, or maybe during this season, TSM picks up Meteos, and then C9 goes to relegation, and Sneaky says, I'm out of here, and goes to TSM. How freaking scary is that roster?
That'd be hilarious, actually.
That is terrifying.
It'd be funny.
As a CLG, like,
That is
person
almost
who
half
roots
the
for
team
CLG,
changed right before Worlds is what that
No,
is.
I'm not saying necessarily Sneaky goes before Worlds, but like say
That would be-
next season during the off season, Meteos and Sneaky both sign on with TSM. So you have, and then Dyer said he's gonna change, right?
He said he could
said he's gonna
retire, actually.
retire.
But I mean, that was also just kind of memeing in a thread.
Yeah, that was.
I'm not sure it was completely serious.
I'm just terrified of the thought of Bjergsen, Sneaky, and Meteos, and Lustboy on the same team.
Just throw balls into it as well. You know, Dyrus retires.
I think I'd
you
take
become
Dyrus.
C9 SM.
I would actually take Dyrus over Balls just because
Yeah,
he's more accustomed.
Well, I'm talking
to
if he
the-
retires. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Just,
he's very accustomed, like the TSM style. Obviously, who would know the TSM style better than Dyrus? He's like Mr. TSM
He is
at this
TSM.
point. So he's the TSMer. You know, he TSMs all day, every day. That's what he does. So, again, realistically, I think CLG is the most likely fit here.
Stop.
Speaking of CLG,
You stop that. You don't get my hopes up.
don't you finish that segue.
Speaking of CLG,
You quit it.
They played like shit
Oh, yeah.
this weekend.
What are you talking about?
Savage.
What happened?
They played really good during the first 15 minutes of the Impulse.
They had a
game.
great start against Tip. Looked to be, Double F was just running around on Jinx, adrenaline speed fuel after getting kills and doing nice things, and they had good setups and they were ganking really
Double
effectively.
Lift had that really good outplay at top lane, level 2,
Yeah.
2v1.
Rocks were just coming in like it's
Then
like,
they
man,
then they hit 25 minutes.
they're going to win, they're going to do great, and then they stop winning.
Yeah, I think we're going to stop seeing Rumble being picked just in general right now, because the thing about Rumble is Poke is becoming really strong in LCS in general, or just in League of Legends right now. You have power picks like Jace, Varus, AP Ezreal with Runeglaive.
That's going to be patched out, though. Thank God.
Yeah, but
The quicker that's gone, the better.
all of these champions that are really Poke focused, and like Rumble really doesn't give you anything against a Poke team because he doesn't have really good hard initiation and he doesn't have sustain, which are the two things that you want against a Poke comp. So I think that was the biggest problem with CLG is they had this Rumble that just ended up not doing anything for them. And they had this protect the Jinx comp, but it had Rumble in there and it just didn't fit. And so as the game progressed, CLG managed to squeak out every advantage that they could, but at the end of the day, you just couldn't go head to head with late game AP Ezreal when you had this Rumble on your team that just didn't contribute. They got poked down and they never got a real team fight, which is where Rumble excels. And so I think with adding on, we saw the Gravity when they just destroyed TSM. They played this most hyper aggressive, engaged J4 mid, Maokai, all in Shin support, let's just rush them down and make them team fight us. And they were successful, and CLG did not have that composition at all, and they weren't able to scale with TIP. I don't know. It made me sad.
Yeah.
But I think everyone who watched it was just it's just inevitable. You know what I mean? You could just feel the game.
Can feel the
slipping.
stench of throw in
After
the
the
air.
first swing to Team Impulse, after that happened, you're like, okay, that's going to keep happening. The game is over, pretty much.
Yep.
I was a believer in CLG until the first throw, and it kind of made sense. I actually tweeted about this, that Fnatic winning the big CS tournament, and then CLG choking, all was right with the world.
At the same time.
All was right with the world as those things kind of came together and just made the unity.
I
of
was
the
watching.
planet.
I was in my bed, and I had the CS:GO tournament on my phone, and I had on my computer behind it the CLG game, and it was like a flip. Someone flipped a switch, and Cloud9 was choking on Dust 2, and CLG was choking on Summoner's Rift, and I just wanted to
That's
cry.
a universal
afternoon.
constant.
I
CLG is going
just-
to fall apart.
I just
it's
fell asleep after
Yeah,
that. I
it's
just went to
It's just a
bed.
bad afternoon right there. It's a bad time if you're a fan of those teams. We missed this one part about C9 actually. I want to hit before we completely move on from Cloud9. Incarnation, we've talked about him numerous times. Sticking with his ear, doing the things. He had a comfort pick this week. He had Zed. Didn't seem to help much at all. In fact, he might have looked worse actually.
Did not click R.
What the fuck?
Actually did not click R.
What do you have to, like, what is left for Incarnation to do? Honestly, I say this like in a broad way here, because
Click R. That's
I don't
what's
see
left.
what he could possibly do differently at this point. He's had comfort picks that aren't in the meta in Zed. He's had, like, let's just do the team composition picks and pick a zero every single fucking game and never be good with it. You know, what
Play
else can
TF.
this guy do?
It sucks because his best bet might be reverting to the crutch that caused C9 to replace High, which was like playing
Support mid laner.
playing a supportive, more safe mid laner that doesn't try to engage on things and never tries to do anything and basically is a huge coward all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of like High where he was doing it in order to, you know, help out like his other lanes and try and have a more complete view of the map. It's about like you're not good. Like you can't compete. So let's just wait it out. Wait till team fight phase and then we'll still lose anyway. Because you don't have as much impact.
Just a great game plan, a fantastic way to plan for a game and to approach a game. So
it's a good mindset.
I don't know what Incarnation can really do at this point to switch things besides play better. Honestly, just, you know, as you mentioned, Steven, like, but not even jokingly, just hit your buttons better.
Or hit them at all.
Hit them, yeah. Use
You
your
know?
abilities.
Just-
Use your
it's-
ultimate.
I wonder if he just like forgot that he can skill like his ultimate ability. Like he just
That makes
didn't
sense.
skill
Yeah,
it.
you can't skill at every level. So
Well,
you
it's
can
actually
forget about
the new Korean way of playing
Yeah,
Zed.
yeah,
So you
he's
don't
like-
you don't level up your ult,
Exactly.
so you can put more points into your
Yeah,
Q.
yeah. He's
Because
like,
your Q is
I
what
want to
really
get my
does the
W
damage.
and my E levels faster. And
Exactly.
Then never hit level 15? No,
It's
16?
it's that poke comp because by level 9 you have your Q at level 5, but then you've also leveled up your E.
Yeah.
So you can just constant harass. It's
Wow.
amazing.
Incarnation. How didn't we see the future?
Well, it didn't work this time. But just you wait until he next.
We
picks
didn't see it because he played poorly. That's why we didn't see
Yeah,
it.
it was his fault.
Yeah.
But not
putting
pressing
that out
R
there.
is a legitimate strategy.
Yeah, it just didn't work out in this
He
case.
actually
It's okay. It's high
could
skill
have
cap.
done better this game if he did what we were suggesting. If he chose not to skill his ult and he skilled one of his other skills
Well, by
instead,
definition, because he never used it, it would have done
actually
better.
Would
but,
have
like,
done better this game by not ever skilling his ult. That is how shittily he played.
We have almost a weekly Incarnation segment on the show now. And
Yeah, like we need to have a title card that's just like let's like shit on Incarnation for 5 minutes.
Yeah, not because they want to, just because he invites being shit on. I mean, like, what can you say? This guy's come into it. I mean, how does he have to feel personally, by the way? Because he's come into a team that's been the class of the region for 4 splits in a row, has gone to Worlds, has done well at Worlds. You know, they took a game off the eventual champions, I believe, in the quarterfinals. You know, they played a very solid series against Samsung Galaxy in the quarterfinals last Worlds. He's come in there and, like, I'm not saying he's fucked it up himself. Obviously, there's issues with the team beyond him. High is the start of them, eliminations play declining, but he can certainly feel like he's fucked it up. Like, he came in and now this happened. You know, how can someone come into a situation like this and feel anything positive at all?
I just want to go back to the Microsoft True Skill ratings that rated Incarnation as the worst competitive League of Legends player of all time.
Take me back to solo queue, my home, where I'm most comfortable, I feel most at peace. Take me away from this LCS game, the contract, the fame, the fortune, the fly honeys. Take me back.
It sounds like the B.O.B. song.
I wasn't aware that.
Making wishes out of
I wasn't aware the
airplanes.
LCS players had the fly honeys.
I was thinking more like a John Denver song, like "Take Me Home." You know, except for West Virginia, it's Denmark, I suppose. Is that too old for you too?
Yeah, Denmark.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, a little bit too much for you guys. That's okay.
It's okay. It's probably too much for about 90% of the viewership as
Probably,
well.
but for those who got it, hey, Gravity Gaming, they are now tied for first place. I don't think many pundits had them at the top of the table coming into this season. We did not have them at the top of the table. We
Nope.
had them as like a mid-tier,
And none of us even
low playoff team.
Yeah, none of us even picked them to go to Worlds, right? We all picked CLG, TSM, and
I believe.
Team
Liquid.
Liquid.
No, we had the same. All three of us picked the same.
Oh, that's
thing
true.
as-
We all pick Liquid. I thought
You know,
you've been expressing a lot of love for Gravity lately.
do.
So
I
I
just-
thought
I-
maybe
I-
you favored them with your
I
picks.
so
but-
enjoy Keen's diverse selection of champions that causes him to get banned out every other game.
I love the fact that
enjoy.
Keen like aggressively refuses to pick in the meta. Like it's like
Yeah.
even if it would pretty much automatically winning the game. No, I refuse.
Well,
I have to pick something stupid.
It's the unicorn style. Like, you play off meta and you play in a way that your opponent can't prepare for very well, that they're not adjusted to playing. And as long as you play mechanically well, like as long as you can back it up,
you have the automatic advantage.
It's difficult for your opponents to deal with.
I think also it's like his plays are freaking smart. Like playing Jarvan, like we saw that was a good pick against AP Ezreal mid, and it's like they're not even. It's not even that he's like off meta. It's like he's in front of the meta. Like he knows everybody's gonna play AP Ezreal mid, and instead of trying to practice that week on AP Ez mid, he's like, no, I'm gonna go one step further and figure out who poops on AP Ezreal mid.
The future of the meta is not in Korea; it's in Keen's mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but I would say that he has really, really good counter picks, and he has a really good understanding of how the game works.
That was a great lineup, by the way. That composition was just fun. Like having the fucking Jarvan mid with the Shen support. We talked about Shen just being picked at all, and like how it's coming into play. And now it's being picked by Bunny Fufu.
But I like him a lot more support than I do in top lane.
Actually,
because
I do as well.
Support doesn't have to have the initiative the top has. He doesn't have to have the presence. It's more about let me peel, let me be good in team fights, let me focus on maybe harassing the enemy in lane. Like those are your 3 jobs. And, Shen can do warding fine, so I think it's a good pick. I don't think it's like I don't think it's gonna turn the support world on its head. But
the only thing is like the reason why you pick Shen though is because you want to split push with him. So then if you pick him as support, you're never ever going to split push with him. So it just turns his ult into like a glorified Lulu shield. Like at that point, what does Shen do better than Lulu?
He's a walking ultimate that can also initiate.
Okay, I guess
that's enough. That's enough.
I mean, Lulu is a walking shield who can also initiate as well.
I don't think Lulu's initiation is anywhere near as good as Shen's.
No, I mean, you don't want to initiate by yourself, but you stick it on someone else and you use the ult to like knock up people.
Lulu has a more annoying laugh.
That's true.
And Lulu's a lot more lane dominant as well, and she provides wave clear.
So like, lists.
I don't know. Shannon got AP per level or MR per level. That's why we're seeing him again. By the way, that is the reason why we're seeing
the subtle buffs, the numbers. When they flip a little bit, they come out and they come out. So Gravity, I mean, is this team a threat to win the split? I mean, they have Hunter, Move, Altype, Bunny, Fufu, and Keen. It's a pretty good roster. It's I think not a star-studded lineup, but we've seen it's played out pretty well. We mentioned Altype as like a top 4 ADC in the region.
I think that they have the 2 best pickups of the entire split. The best 2 off-season moves that any team did, picking up Move and picking up Altec, I think they've been the most successful.
If you'd asked me last week, I would have said my problem with Gravity is I don't know how they're going to perform against the top teams of the American region. But they think they're a contender.
Well, yeah, because last time they played against TSM, they just like choked.
Yeah, they didn't look very good, and they haven't looked good against like top teams. But now suddenly they just decide like, oh, we're steamrolling.
I like the idea of this team going to Worlds and just being kind of an unknown factor, and teams not really being prepared to see Gravity there. You think you're going to see your TSM, your Cloud9. That's not going to happen, I don't think, anymore. Maybe a CLG, maybe a Liquid, not a Gravity. So you're really kind of preparing on the fly for this team as they come in. I mean, there'll be obviously weeks to go between their appearance at Worlds and leading up to it, but it'd be fun to see kind of a surprise appearance at Worlds. I think we're going to see a surprise appearance perhaps from North America in the form of Gravity, and from Europe we could see a surprise appearance because I mean the 3rd team to come out of Europe is kind of a crapshoot at this point.
There's no way to guess at this point.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's pretty much just like roll the dice because like I have it could be anyone.
Yeah, I mean getting into that, we have in the middle of the table in Europe Giants, Rocket, Unicorns, Gambit Gaming, and Elements, all pretty much in the same position, the split.
Like maybe Elements is a little more behind just because of their future schedule, but like even then, they could really easily
dramatically behind anyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
All of those teams sound like I don't want any of them.
So you have Origin, who's in like 3 losses, a little bit ahead of those 5 teams. But Origin is also playing their first split of the season, so they're at a natural disadvantage in terms of the points and making progress towards Worlds. And then you have the 2, assumed shoo-ins, Fnatic and H2K. So this quagmire we have here with Giants, Rocket, Unicorns, Gambit, and Elements, it's hard to decipher who looks good here. I think Keith probably likes Giants a little bit since he picked them for Worlds. I still see a lot of potential in Unicorns. They frustrate me every time they play. because they just, I don't know. I want them to just not give a fuck. That's the unicorn style, and if they don't play that way, I think they're kind of handicapping themselves every time they go out there. So
and if they were able to play like that, I would pick them over Giants any day of the week. But they're not. They've shown that they have hesitancy in going back to the way they were.
They've shown that they at times give some fucks.
Yes, and that's
a
bad thing.
They
need to release their fucks into the wind.
You see during Champion Select, like, you know, Kiki's and Power of Evil, and all these people are like standing here being like, I'm really glad that today we don't have to give a fuck. And then the coach walks around with a bucket and just like hands out fucks to everyone. And it's like, just get this guy away from the stage.
Exactly what I saw. Get him out. Yeah, just get him away. No coaches. If you take on the Unicorns of Love name, you embrace that culture. I think you've shown yourself that
is true.
You need to not go. That's like part of your makeup is to just not care a whole lot. And you talk about, oh, I'm so glad we made the LCS. I'm so glad we made playoffs. I'm so glad we got second place. You know, that's a good approach for this team. Obviously, I talked with Richard about how there are some teams who just need to approach the game differently. We talked about Envy, the Counter-Strike team. They drink wine and smoke, and they're up till 4 or 5 in the morning before the next day they'll play a big best-of-3 series, you know. And that's the way they do things. When they were like a 1A and 1B with a 1A and 1B with Fnatic early in the year, winning X Games, for example, they did the same thing then. You know, that's just how they go about things. So some teams need to take a less serious approach. Unicorns obviously are one of those teams. They need to take a less serious approach. You literally
chose the name of your organization because you thought it sounded funny.
Yeah.
Like, you are not a team that's going to have, like, analysis and, like, picks and, like, okay, let's think about how this works. Just go for it.
I mean,
just
you can
do
have
it.
some of that. Exactly. No, please. Please.
You were like, yes, no. Quickly went.
Jared hopped off my hype train and I brought it.
No Your train crashed, actually, like, went off the rails and just, like, exploded in a terrible fireball. That's what happened. You're now a fireball. You're exploding. Yeah, you're done. Okay.
Moving on.
Unicorns, yeah, they do, I think, need to get back to their own style because, as I talked about Richard, you know, if Envy were to stop, even though they're being inconsistent right now, if they were to stop going out and partying and playing their way and doing things their way, it would be to their own detriment because that's how they do things. If Unicorns stop playing we're happy to be here, we're just happy to do our thing and play our game, as we've seen, it's to their detriment. You know, you have to incorporate some professionalism and some more analysis and have some coaching and things like that, but you don't change your entire style. I was really concerned before the split started because there was talk about them having a new approach to the game. I was very concerned. I said it to Richard. I said it on this part of the show as well. I didn't want to see it happen. I was worried the team would get changed. You know, I know that 9-7 is not a comfortable record to have in the first split, and then to like barely scrape by through the playoffs and to get within one game winning the European LCS. I know they felt like they could do better with a more professional approach, but I think that might be the best Unicorns has. You know, going 9-7 and then making a great run in the playoffs is probably the cap of what this team's capable of.
But I don't even think that I don't even think that that's their best. Like, I think that that was their first like split.
That's true.
And they had players individually with little to no experience in competitive play. Like, there's a much higher cap if they're willing to accept that they don't have to follow all of the, you know, professional guidelines that other teams set up, because like ultimately those guidelines are in place because they feel that there's no alternative.
And we see that style of play can be more successful than 9-7 in second place in the split because Gravity's doing their own thing, and like Keen is playing J4 mid and Rumble mid and like doing the most random or seemingly random stuff, like doing their own picks. And like Gravity, that's why every single team is scared of them, because they say you can't prepare for Gravity because they're going to play some cheese and you haven't prepared for it and you're going to have to adapt on the fly. And if you can't, you're going to lose the game.
And even when Unicorns started doing poorly, like the reasoning other teams gave was we figured them out. It was like, it was a pattern of the players and like bad habits that could be fixed and not a problem with playing off-meta champions.
Yeah.
The problem was that the players themselves were doing things that were exploitable and that they had patterns in their champion picks that could be like taken advantage of. But like that's not necessarily saying, okay, we have to play on meta now. That's just we need to improve who we are as people. And I think that until they learn that distinction, they're going to not...
They're terrible people.
Improve themselves as people.
They need to become more...
They need to go out in the streets and volunteer.
Yeah, exactly. They need to donate to charity.
Yeah. This is a very broad, like, kind of zoomed back discussion of Unicorns, like the style they play and how, you know, being more concerned or less concerned with the results and being on meta affects the team. Like really, they have talented players. It's the same team as last split, and yet they look dramatically worse to me while still playing, again with the same team, just different comps. And that says, okay, it's probably a matter of how they approach the meta and how they approach their team play and how they approach the game in general, which speaks to the point we've been making here. But we've pretty much made that point, I think, at this point. So Unicorns, please, from my heart, do the opposite of try. Untry a little bit. Walk it back a little bit. Be yourself.
Pop those collars.
Yeah, be comfortable with who you are. You are a 9-7 team that almost won the European LCS over Fnatic of all teams. By the way, that best of 5 almost beating Fnatic looks better in hindsight than it did even at the time.
Yeah.
It looked chaotic then. Monte Cristo wouldn't even watch the fucking thing. But now, looks like a great result for Unicorns. That they almost did the SKT, right? Surely they're on the level with SKT now. That shows right there. The best
Unicorns
of 5,
above,
yes.
On the same level as SKT.
The best of 5.
We've heard
we've
it here
confirmed
on
it.
Daily
Yes.
Dot.
The best of 5
Jared
they
Wynn.
played shows us that for a fleeting moment, they were almost SK Telecom T1.
At least I'm open about my bias to Giants.
That means
Jared hides.
Power
his-
of Evil is almost Faker, right?
Is that hidden, really?
No, it's not hidden anymore.
For a
but,
fleeting moment, for one moment, they were almost SKT.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any bias either.
obviously, yeah.
Clearly not.
That's clearly the case. Should we just give up on Elements, by the way?
Yeah.
It's just time to let go of that.
I've already let go a long time ago.
I mean, they've been hyped since the beginning of the year to some degree and have failed since the beginning of the year to every degree. So I don't think it's really time to,
I think out of every single team in the entire, both LCSs, the team we've...
The LCSs, if you will.
LCSs. The team that we've spoken about the least by far has been Elements because they're just so forgettable.
That's because if you compare every LCS, the LCI, like what's... Okay, find the LCSs.
LCSian.
We need to find a better plural for that.
Every
but when you
LCSian
compare them all
team.
together, like what's the least interesting team? Oh, it's Froggen and Company featuring,
Featuring,
try it and see if it works.
featuring a new player every week. You decide. They're like a
Revolving-
reality TV show where
It's a
you
revolving
vote
door.
people off each week and replace them with someone else.
I think the two teams we talked about the least this year have been Elements and Rollcat. And what do you know? They're two teams who just what defines those two teams is underperforming, but not like to all relegation status. Just underperforming just enough to be really boring and not be notable in any way.
Because even when, Rockat's even worse than Elements, because when Roccat wins, it's never been convincing for me. There's only been a few games, and it's against, other mid-card European teams where it's like, okay, they really showed up. And every other time it's been, I felt like that could have gone either way up until the last 2 minutes. As opposed to, even when SK wins, they win. They almost never win. But when they do, it's, wow, that happened. They looked good, and then
why can't they do that? For
they could do that
4/5 of the
consistently.
split?
Yeah, they would be able to be a better team.
If they could do that inconsistently, they'd be an improvement. Honestly, they're 3-9. They're 3-9. Inconsistency would be an improvement over 3-9. I think for SK Gaming. I mean, they're one game from auto relegation.
If they were rolling a dice every time they came in to decide whether they were good or bad,
Who
they would
is
be a
going to
better
get
team.
auto-relegated from Europe?
It should be Copenhagen Wolves. They just brought in 2 rookies who never played.
They're already
LCS
2-10,
before.
and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, they're 2-10 and just changed their team for much worse. I mean, I guess you could say that the players they had were kind of just throwing in the towel at this point, so it's better to just go with rookies anyway, who are going to be excited to be there and going to put forth a good effort just because they're playing in the LCS.
Here's the bet, though. Is Copenhagen Wolves going to end up with a worse record than TDK?
Yes, I would say that's a very good Jared question, Keith. That's something I would normally ask as we round up the show. I would say yes. I would say that they certainly are going to run out because TDK has some good players and. Even playing with their terrible no-practice sub-lineup, they had some good early games, actually. They had some good potential games that just fell apart because they weren't a real team. Now that TDK is actually practicing week to week and has their actual team in place and has even more skill, I think, in the lineup with players like Emperor, I see TDK picking up a couple upset games as they go along. I don't know if Wolves can win again.
Here's the thing, though, is that Copenhagen Wolves in the EULCS, the EULCS has, by my count, 3 teams right now that can just Copenhagen Wolves sit down to play.
Egg.
They sit down to play. They look over at the other 5 chairs. There's no one there, and the game begins. It's just AFK win.
Who is your third? Elements, SK.
I would put Gambit as sometimes when they drop, they drop. Like, they're done.
What happened to Gambit? By the way, they were like a dynamic team coming into the split, like a hype team. Like, Gambit could make the final of the split. They could challenge Fnatic if everything drops just right. We talked about Cloud9 as a team that brought in a big free agent, you know, the Incarnation signing. What's going to happen to them? They could have a great up period, or if things go wrong, they could have like a really bad down, but we think they're going to be okay. Gambit Gaming, they bring in Forgiven. I mean, big upside, obviously. This team could go really well. I mean, they were thought to do better last split as well.
And the AD carry switch like really hurt them because like that was what Pinoy was known for, is that he just did stuff. And like he was like a really, really chaotic AD carry, but he was in a way, I would say, the core of their offense. And then you bring in Forgiven, who's a little bit more structured. And I think they had problems adjusting because you saw in a lot of their games, like they put a lot of like infrastructure and support into let's get the bottom lane fed, and then he was content farming, or like let me try and get a kill, but we couldn't get it, so let's not dive for it. Let's like get lane advantage.
Yeah, it's
and that's
like
not how they're used to playing.
Gambit hasn't. You're talking about how they're trying to play to Forgiven strengths, but I feel like they've done like a really bad job of either maintaining their own like identity or changing and fitting Forgiven's identity. They've just sort of landed somewhere in this ugly gap in between. And before, Forgiven was the #1 AD carry in terms of the gold share that he had on his team. So compared to all the other people, he had the most money on his team always when he was at SK. And now he's like 8th or 9th in that stat compared to the rest of the AD carries and his gold share, because it's like Gambit seems to be trying to put some more focus on him, but like not enough focus to where it's given them success and been able to put Forgiven ahead on the path to where he needs to be to succeed. Instead, they're just trying to like plug Forgiven into their system, and it's just not working out.
Did you know it was only a few short months ago when SK Gaming was unbeaten and Forgiven had not died in an LCS game for like multiple weeks?
And Cloud9 was the second best team in North America.
Yeah, and that was struggling.
Those were better days.
Cloud9 was struggling and still was one of the best teams in North America. Because they were Cloud9. They're gonna be fine. They're Cloud9. That's what they do. They're good. They're a good team. Not so much these days.
I cry every time.
The Forgiven struggles. The Meteos struggles. We haven't seen. How about that? Meteos crashed out of his team more dramatically than Forgiven this split.
And Incarnation.
That's where Cloud9 is these days. That they look worse in terms of chemistry and stuff than a Forgiven team.
Oh, I thought you meant just like in terms of Meteos being the person who pieced out on his team.
That's what I meant. Yeah, I would expect Forgiven to probably do that before.
Yeah, or Incarnation.
I would put Meteos very low in the list of people willing to piece out on their team before the split. So
would I. Maybe towards the bottom, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
He would never.
Kind of like C9's kind of at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Wonder if there's a correlation there.
It's amazing how that works.
There could be some correlation.
Oh, I'm sorry, Amazing's on Origin. Sorry.
Yeah, he is. By the way, but Origin, Peke retiring reportedly after this split and World Championship event. A legend goes away, takes his leave. He's played pretty well in the mid lane. He still looks pretty solid. He doesn't have to retire, certainly. He could keep playing if he wanted to, but wants to move on to other things, apparently. Origin, do they have a shot to send Peke out in proper style at Worlds, making a decent run there? Is this a team that has that kind of potential?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't like see them making a deep run. I think if they made it out of groups, it would be a huge success for them.
I mean, we went vein spotting with Niels this week, and
yeah,
that was a lot of
pretty.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But like, it just feels like Xpeke is kind of like leading the team. Sometimes it feels like the Xpeke show featuring the other four. And that can't work in a team that's going to like make a run at Worlds. It's going to get anywhere at Worlds.
It'll get you to almost getting the Nexus down, but not quite.
One auto attack away.
Yeah, that's what it'll get you. It'll almost take a Nexus, but not.
Oh, can you imagine if that happens again?
It'd be fate if it did, and not even like against a wildcard team too. Forget against like a really good team. Like it happens again against Besiktas or someone. That's the most appropriate thing, I think.
Which is ironic because Xpeke is known for his backdoor, right? So then it's like being able to kill the Nexus when you're not supposed to, and then we saw them go out in such dramatic fashion by not being able to kill the Nexus when they should have.
Well, it makes sense. That's how you like get in that position to begin with. Is like you're good at backdooring, so then you put yourself in a position to almost kill the Nexus when you're not supposed to be able to, It just so happens that because you come so close to it and then fall short, it ends up becoming a negative thing when really you were making a good play and it just didn't quite go all the way through. A shame for XPK. Good luck, Sailor. If you plan to retire, by all means, go out with a bang as you can and go out with your integrity intact.
Definitely one of the greatest League of Legends careers of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
No doubt about
Absolutely.
that. He's one of the OGs.
Probably top 5 even.
And original world champion, as a matter of fact. So you can.
Who has a better League of Legends career than XPK?
Maybe Faker.
Faker, yeah.
Faker.
That's kind of. I put Pawn above him too. That's just me though.
Pawn. Yeah, maybe
Dandy.
Imp. Imp has a world championship and
one of the players from Taipei Assassins had a really good career.
Toys, yeah.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, good.
I think there's plenty internationally, but if you're talking about the West, then there's not a lot of people that can
I'm
deal
not sure
with
Toys
XPK.
had a better career than XPK,
an equivalent, roughly.
Yeah, maybe equivalent. I think really, the only person I feel very confident has a better career than XPK is Faker. That tells you how much we should appreciate XPK as a player.
Well, I appreciate him.
If there was a Esports Hall of Fame, he would absolutely be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
For sure. There should be, as a matter of fact. We should open that up.
I'm down.
On loadout. We'll close with a discussion on some champions here, as we like to do so often on the show. I heard some rumblings earlier on in discussion about some champion, Israel, I think his name was.
Yep. Never heard of him.
Kind of looks like me.
Why don't we explain to the wonderful viewers what's going on with the Ezreal suddenly becoming
okay,
again?
so this is why Ezreal's really good. Okay, he doesn't need a map, and he hates Noxians.
That's true. A lot of the meta champions right now are either Noxian or Noxian affiliated. So Ezreal really does well against that.
Or they need maps.
That's true. He has good map awareness because it's kind of built into him.
Yep.
No.
Seriously though, there's two.
For those who have no clue what the fuck you're talking about,
read the lore.
Yeah, good on you for not having a clue what the fuck they're talking about. Actually, in the game,
there's two
for
new
those
items.
of you who don't speak dank meme,
Luden's Echo and Runeglaive. More importantly, probably Runeglaive's probably the most important portion of it, but people underestimate Luden's in the build.
We need to preface this by saying AP Ezreal late game has always been the most nuts champion in all of League of Legends.
The problem is that he can't really stand up.
Yeah, the problem is that his path to late game has always been crap. But AP Ezreal late game has always just been ridiculously nuts.
And now that
just
you have
absurd.
Now that you have a
we're
Riot.
starting to see that now. But now that you can have a Runeglaive, you can actually get there in a reasonable amount of time.
I mean, Smite helps you a lot too, and then you have you have what the bug Riot says, where Runeglaive procs your Q, which means that you can basically decimate people while standing a full screen.
By the way, what makes that a bug exactly? I'll tell you what makes it a bug.
Riot didn't.
It's overpowered. They didn't intend it. That's what makes it a bug, quote unquote.
Well, it's a bug because Riot was like it wasn't supposed to be this good. Whoops,
it's not a fucking bug. It's just something they missed.
I've seen a fair amount of AP Gangplank mid. That's how ridiculous this whole Runeglaive business is.
Yeah,
that's like the poor man's AP Ezreal.
Anyone with on-hit procs is
on-hit procs
received
on
a large buff with Runeglaive.
The homeless man's AP Ezreal actually a game.
It is.
Forget poor man.
It's hilarious.
Actually, I think it would be rich man because we all know you're building bank plank.
Oh yeah, got that cha-chang.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Rickling for showing me AP GP.
Excellent, very good. AP Gangplank with that just. I'm so
Make it
thrilled.
rain.
I'm so excited actually to
Make
hear
it rain.
about Gangplank in there. So
actually, that's Misfortune. Hey, Misfortune could do it too.
Yeah,
she gets on hit on Q.
Say actually, Misfortune.
And ult. I'm playing that when we get
back to the meta, the Misfortune
Runeglaive MF.
AP.
You don't need mobility. You don't need CC. You don't even need good AD carry tools. All you need is Runeglaive.
Well, her ult scales with AP.
That's true.
It does physical damage, but it scales with AP.
Yeah, what a great kit, by the way, Misfortune.
Wow,
yeah, so viable and versatile.
It's really oversaturated though. There's too many tools there.
Yeah, there's damage.
All of her abilities scale the opposite of what they do damage with. So her abilities that scale with AP do physical damage.
I've met one man ever who has disputed the fact that Misfortune is the worst AD carry currently in the game.
Good design right there, actually.
You think Misfortune's worse than Quinn?
I think Misfortune's worse than Quinn.
Quinn's more versatile. You can play
Quinn's more versatile. She's got decent
Quinn top lane
People
is
sleep
different.
on her ultimate.
It's different. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, if you can play a champion somewhere else, you can't call them just terrible. I mean, because they have one goal.
I think he said the worst AD carry. I think Quinn is an
I think
awful AD
I
carry.
mean,
Well,
like
she is a
champions.
marksman, so I think she does count as an ADC. It's just you can switch lanes with her and have her be very effective.
And regardless, even as an AD
okay.
carry, I put Quinn above.
So are we
Miss
saying that
Fortune.
Ezreal is an AD carry when he's playing Runeglaive AP? No.
I mean, he's kind of an.
I'd put Quinn in bot lane with a
700
support
AP,
2v2.
kind of an AD carry.
Okay, the worst bottom lane.
I'd put Quinn above
Miss
Miss Fortune in a bottom lane in a 2v2.
Okay, in a 2v2, yeah, but in a team composition, I would never ever want Quinn above Miss Fortune.
I mean, I guess if you can protect Miss Fortune really well and never get into any fight that's not a team fight.
But at that point, you might as well play Kog'Maw, and you get like a champion that's almost twice as good.
Because you're playing like
well, yeah, I mean, you would rather play anybody than either of these champions. So if that's going to be your argument,
but Quinn has a niche place. Like,
I mean,
as an assassin with a lot of move speed and who can like burst someone to death faster than anyone else in a mid-game situation.
Yeah, Quinn has a sick like level 2 through 8.
But what I'm saying is that like that is a place. That's a niche she has. When you think about Miss Fortune, everything about her is overlapped by almost every other AD carry.
Her ult is good.
I guess she has some spread in her ult. Like, who else has that much spread on their ult? I don't know if anyone does.
I mean, if you get a full Miss Fortune ult off.
If you get a full Miss Fortune off, you're not.
Yeah, I mean, you can come into a team fight and like hit a slow on a good choke point and then hit the ult and like hit 4 enemy team
if an
members.
Echo
That's
gets
pretty
stun on
effective.
the entire team and then Miss Fortune gets a full ult off.
Okay, you don't even need that. I mean, you can have like a Malphite ult. Or like,
it's like a really good choke point champion, actually. Like, she can do a lot of damage if you're stuck in
we
a
saw Curse of the Sad Bullet Time be the meta in Korea, like not even that long ago. Like
That's right. Let's talk her back in. Let's talk her back into viability.
I'm trying to.
When was the last time you saw Quinn?
Let's generate hype.
Oh yeah, that's right. Never.
Have we seen?
Has she ever been played in a competitive game?
I'm not sure,
I think
actually.
it was a top Quinn.
Probably top lane. I think so.
I mean, that's true. That ish is annoying. That is like one of the strongest top lane champions.
Yes, it is. It's very annoying to play against top. It's quite so. It pokes you pretty hard.
Yep.
You get your shit
poked.
Excellent
delivered
analysis.
to you.
Shit deliverance.
From those guys.
Yeah, there was shit deliverance, as some champions do.
You know, if you silence Quinn as her like Valor time expires, then she gets stuck as Valor for the rest of the game. So like because it auto turns you back into Quinn like after whatever 45 seconds
she's
is
played
expired.
so often that like.
But if you silence
so
her
many
during the
bug reports.
time when her time expires, she can't change back and she gets stuck as Valor for the rest of the game.
The new meta is to counterpick Quinn into Soraka.
Or I was thinking Cho'Gath.
Yeah, or Cho'Gath, and like get yourself silenced on purpose, and then play the rest of the game as Valor and have like a new composition based on that. That's pretty strong.
Valor isn't even that good.
He's pretty strong.
Like you can burst, but like
he's devastating.
He's really fast.
Yeah, very fast. Who's a good matchup, composition matchup with Valor? If you had Valor stuck on, who works well with Valor? This is like really testing your ability to compose teams.
We have gotten
okay, so we have an incredible amount. I would say Bard because you have an incredible amount of quick damage, but you need the ability to lock someone down so that you can deliver a second round of your Q and E. And then also you want to be able to have mobility through flash and walls because you don't have anything that isn't pure move speed.
I think it would
so
just be like
Magical Journey would be OP.
I think you would just want you would put him in a split push composition.
I'm talking about
no one could split push better than Valor.
I thought he was saying like who goes well with.
I was just thinking composition around him, like what champions.
Yeah, no, I was thinking if you do like a top lane Quinn and Valor, and then you get silenced and you're stuck as Valor.
Quinn into Valor.
You can make the best split pushing composition.
How about if you play like a 3-1-1 with Shen and then Quinn and then 3 defensive champions?
No, not Quinn, just Valor.
Oh,
you're
that's right.
Stuck as Valor.
Stuck as Valor.
You're a bird for the rest of the game.
Bird is the word that you are.
Yep.
That's a great idea. New meta, I think. Don't look to Korea.
Support Shen.
Don't look to Keen.
We're there.
Look to bugs on shitty champions.
I guess looking to Keen is kind of like looking to Korea, isn't it? It's kind of
They're pretty similar.
There's a connection there, isn't there? There's some. I don't know what it would be. It's just some connection between Keen and Korea.
It's almost like Keen spent. No, never mind. Yeah, lost it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, close enough. Don't look there. Look here. the new meta.
At the loadout.
Yes, look at the loadout for your new Valor based meta.
Vala. We're gonna just import a Heroes of the Storm champion.
No, that's kind of like no, it's not.
Yeah, tweet your Valor results.
I never
to
thought
us.
about how similar Quinn and Valor are to Vala from Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
They both are like crossbow-related champions.
My connection was actually like Leona. It's kind of a Valkyrie, so like go to the halls of Valhalla, I guess.
Valhalla.
Valhalla, yeah.
Just getting too
But
far.
champions just come back to life when they die, so you can't even go to Valhalla. It's just a shame.
What are you talking about? There's no lore. Nothing happens when they die.
They just come back.
This is just that doesn't know.
Yeah,
it's lore.
like that doesn't
There's no
exist.
Olaf.
This all imagines. It's all inside of our head. It's not a real thing.
All of these lore things are just imagined. The legal lore is imagined every
There's
time.
no
It's
lore
just-
anymore. There's actually no lore.
Yeah.
So now it's just mindless
There's
champions.
still little.
I'm not mad, I'm just
the fucking-
disappointed.
what are they called? Like the little gremlins. They're still. Oh my god.
I'm just watching.
Yordles, Meglings.
Yeah, Yordle.
I was just gonna watch him struggle. I wasn't gonna help him.
That's still lore. They're still Yordles. They exist. That's a name for them still. They didn't get like their names right.
I wouldn't even call that lore.
No,
I would hesitate.
all lore is gone forever. Until they rewrite it.
Until
Which
they
they won't because they're right.
No, they hired a writer to actually do that. They did.
One person.
They have an entire team for that.
You know
They're
how
just
many
like,
people are making skins right now, though?
How many?
Many more than one.
Oh, okay. On that note, thank you for joining us on the Loadout. We hope you enjoyed the show. I certainly enjoyed it, and if I enjoyed it, that means you should have enjoyed it too. I mean it, like you really should have. If you like the show, follow the channel down below, kind of around this area, I believe. Let me think. Oh no, it's over here
No,
actually.
over
The
the
little
other
heart.
side.
Yeah, the
Yep.
heart's down here. Click the heart. Click the heart first, please. Episodes are uploaded onto YouTube at daily.esports. Check it out there. Subscribe to that channel as well. Other esports-related content. Twitter and Facebook.esports. How great, how wonderful, how exquisite. Every day here, we're here for you. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. These guys and Richard Lewis back on Thursday, as a matter of fact. We'll see you then. Bye.